Hey there, folks. It's Aaron again, here to tell you that we have a Patreon page. I know I've said this every episode so far. I'm sure you're tired of hearing me talk about it, but you know what? It is important, and I'm going to repeat it over and over again because we need the help. I mean, I guess we don't need it like we're dying, but it's helpful, and we would like it. That is patreon.com/evacstation. If you head there right now, for only $1 a month, you can help keep this show going, help other shows get going, and it's only like $12 a whole year. That's basically one whole movie for us. That's cheaper than any of the movies we've talked about so far. I mean, honestly, it's a great deal. You're sealing a great deal here. Slap the roof of this car here, this podcast here. It's going to fit all sorts of episodes in here. Just go for it. That's a meme right there. Just enjoy it. I'll see you during the show, and have a good time. A podcast of film, of a family of crayon, hosted by these two, Ryan Matsuko, and I am Aaron Yamada. And for those who didn't catch that, that was a subtle haiku there. I hope someone caught that.
Yep. I missed it because you didn't say asshole at the end of it.
Ah, I feel bad now. I feel bad now. I didn't plan for that. The opening theme for this episode. So I haven't really settled on something yet. Right now, I'm putting in the filler theme of Bob's Burgers theme. I'll explain why later, but I feel like that'd be a good tune for this one. We'll see. So yeah, this week we're talking about My Neighbors, the Yamadas, a movie that probably isn't talked about super much in the Ghibli circle because it's very different, actually. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about what you're watching. Ryan, what you been watching this week?
Well, let's see here. I actually caught up on a show that I had initially checked out and was into, but hadn't gotten a chance to finish up. It's called Into the Badlands.
I've heard of this.
It's on AMC. So essentially, it is a Western setting. Well, not really. Fuck. All right. It is.
Cut that. Start over. Let's do it
again. It's hard to explain. Hold on. It is a semi-Western setting built in the ruins of modern society.
Okay.
But it's
a post-apocalypse Western.
Post-apocalypse Western. Game of Thrones plus Kung Fu.
It sounds like it's got a lot of shit in there.
It's really good though. It's like the idea is that the invention of gunpowder caused untold wars and whatnot, and really led to the downfall of society. So in the ruins of it, they essentially decreed that nobody could use gunpowder whatsoever. Of course, humans are humans and they still want to conquer shit. So instead of developing guns and firearms, they have gone full-fledged into martial arts. So everybody is trained to be fucking kung fu monks, and it's fucking boss. It's really cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. It's a lot of fun. The writing isn't amazingly top-notch, but it's fun, and it's good to watch. And Nick Frost is in the second season of it, and it's really cool.
Nice. I'll have to give that a look at some point. As for my week, so I talked about this a few weeks back, and I've been meaning to bring it up, but we've been so busy with trailers and shit. So I'm going to talk about it real quick here, and I also have a trailer I wanted to bring up, because it's the one that came out today at the time of recording that I want to bring up. But before I get to that, Luke, all the way through. For those listening, that was like months ago. For me, it was like a week and a half ago. Yeah, Luke Cage was pretty good. Ryan, you still there? Yeah. So
you're kind of going in and out.
Yeah. I'll hopefully my recording comes through. No, so Luke Cage. No, so Luke Cage. It's a different season this time around. I kind of like what they did with it. I'm not gonna get into spoiler territory here in case people are still catching up on it. But it's more angry and arrogant this season, and it kind of builds into his character. And by the end of it, he is definitely gone through an arc, and is definitely different than he was when he started. I'm really digging how that's going. When he started, I'm really digging how that's going.
Yeah, I love it. I loved the second season. It was so fucking good. They do things with Luke's character that I absolutely did not expect, and they had Luke remain true to his character, but also took it somewhere that I didn't see coming, which was really, really cool. And that it throws a good amount of monkey wrenches into what the rest of the Defenders are going to think about Luke. So I'm like, yes, let's see what he does with it. It's going to be so good. I can't wait for season 3. Yes.
Let's see, hang on here. I'm going to look up a character real quick because, who was it? The character who plays the actor who plays his father, he passed away before the season ended, and so they had a little, like, tribute at the end of it, didn't they? I don't remember.
Yeah, Reggie Cathy.
Oh, that's the name. Okay, yeah.
Reggie Cathy. Yep. Yeah. He is a fantastic actor.
He did a great job.
And I'm really sad that he passed away.
Yeah, I was hoping they'd be able to build more into his character in the next season, but yeah, no, it's always really kind of sad when an actor passes away during a production or near the end of a production, like Heath Ledger, Reggie here, or even Carrie Fisher, for example. Like, so many good big names that just kind of go and their work isn't necessarily done, but for them it is. So I don't know. It's kind of hurts a little bit, especially when it's like he just did such a good job with that.
I honestly loved how they introduced his character, and like all of this, like this charisma and arrogance just comes right off the bat as soon as they see each other for the first time, and it almost kind of foreshadows Luke. So it's like it's giving you basis for what you will see from Luke. Not to that extreme, but you're gonna see, yeah, Luke got this from somewhere. So when it comes up, you gonna see it. It's so good. I'm gonna stop.
Yep.
No spoilers. And everybody go watch that shit. It's really good.
And not really a spoiler, but I do want to dissuade any concerns. The guy who plays Iron Fist, he does okay in this season. He's only in it for like one episode. He does an okay job. He has, I think he's learned a little bit from the previous appearances he's had in these shows. I'm hoping he carries that into his own show. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
I honestly think it was the writing. I don't think there's anything wrong with Finn Jones's acting. I think the direction and the writing that he was given in Iron Fist was bad. And when you actually put him with a really good director and a really good script, it's like, oh shit, he can act.
I honestly just wish they would just, cut the cord. Like, okay, listen, you're a good actor, you do a good job. Okay, listen, you're just going to be supporting characters. You do a good job. Heroes of hire. You're just going to be supporting heroes for hire needs to happen, and your own show. Heroes of hire. Heroes for hire needs to happen, and your own show. It's fine. That'd be great.
No, because I wanna actually see a well done Iron Fist. Like I think there's a lot of potential for really kick-ass stories in Iron Fist, and I want to see them. I want to see what they do with it, especially if they continue this trend of taking characters that were originally made for problematic reasons and like really address that in today's society. Like, how the hell do you do a character that was made as a blaxploitation comic and make it and flip it to make it really like amazingly representative of Black culture and like what it's like to be a person of color in America? Holy shit, that's an amazing flip. I want to see them do something.
We'll have one disappointment in the entire season. It's not
Iron
anything that they did wrong. It's
while
just one
also
thing I wish they had
having
added.
martial arts.
I know at the end of Black Panther they had introduced the idea of a Wakandan embassy in New York. The entire season. I would have loved to have seen some reference to that somewhere. Just anyway, because I feel like
I know
this
at
would
the
have
end of
been
Black
the
Panther,
show
they
to
had
put introduced the idea of a Wakandan embassy in New York. I would have loved to have seen some reference to that somewhere. Just anywhere, because I feel like this would have been the show to put it in.
Not yet. What you have to realize is that all of the Netflix movies are happening like a period of time before the MCU. So they're like, you're not going to see any repercussions of like Black Panther or the snap.
Well, I figured it wasn't going to be.
I love.
I figured it wouldn't be after Infinity War, but I figured it would be like in between. I don't know.
No, it's before. All of the Netflix shows are happening before, so you wouldn't see a Wakandan embassy for a long time, or for a while.
I wasn't aware of the timeline. I wasn't 100% sure. Okay. The other thing I saw this week, I want to make it real quick. Today, it's way later for you guys, of course. The Venom trailer, Part 2, came out.
What?
A second Venom trailer. So I watched it because someone on my Facebook was like, they really want to see it, and I'm like, okay, is this better than the first one? Because I'm hoping it is. So I opened it up when I get home. I put it on my phone. I'm like, okay, just lay it on me. What do you got? And I don't like it. Like, it's not surprising that it didn't get better. I actively think it looks worse.
Oh, no.
Because we actually get to see more dialogue and more quote-unquote story, and I am just like, I couldn't give any less of a shit about this movie if it tried.
Oof.
Like, to clarify, I think Venom, once he's in full costume, looks okay. Not great. Better than Topher Grace, sure, but not great. He's just okay. That's as far as I can take that. There's one, like, little bit at the end of the trailer where he's threatening some guy in a store. I don't know if he's, like, the clerk or the owner or just some dude, about ripping off his arms and face. And then he says a line where he'll be a armless, faceless turd in the wind. I'm just sitting here like, you wrote that. You wrote that and put it in a movie.
Are you kidding?
Why are you doing this?
I want to pause this recording and watch it. Oh my god, that sounds so bad.
It's so god-awful. It's just... I can excuse them to an extent for not making this connect to Spider-Man. If you can sell me on that, sure. But you can't excuse... No, it's just... It makes me sad.
Oh,
Venom's not even my favorite character, and I can admit that this is still just not what he deserves.
Oh no!
But hey, I mean, I'm not super upset. I mean, I expected Sony to fuck up Spider-Man stuff more. They're just meeting my expectations.
It's not great.
It's not great at all, no. I hope it doesn't damage the Spider-Man brand. That's my only concern, because, like, I don't think Marvel wants that.
Alright, yeah, I'm checking this out as soon as we're done.
Oh yeah, you should. You'll be disappointed as much as I am.
I have it, like, keyed up on YouTube. As soon as we're done, I'm gonna watch it.
Excellent. I hope I'm here when you do.
Ugh.
Okay, well, getting away from that sadness, let's talk about today's ill-named SummerSlam. We'll be tackling My Neighbors, the Yamadas. All of them, to the ground. A very different film, released in 1999. Directed by the late Isao Takahata, before he would take a 13-year break from directing.
Wow.
While the reception for this movie was the English dub features notable voices such as Jim Belushi, Jeff Bennett, Molly Shannon, and Tress McNeely.
Wow.
Who returns as yet another old woman. Like Ocean Waves, I don't really have any awards for this movie, but it does have a cumulative box office number of 13,695,000.
Okay.
Yep. As a bonus fact, this is Studio Ghibli's first 100% digitally animated film. Director Isao Takahata wanted the art style of watercolor pictures, which needed digital technology to get the style right. The art style would later be repurposed in the next Takahata-directed film, The Tale of Princess Kaguya in 2013.
Huh.
And we'll get to that one before too long, boys. Don't you worry. So, Ryan, what do you think of this film? What are your initial thoughts?
Initial thoughts, I'm loving the fact that that this project is introducing me to so many different kinds of anime. I've mentioned it in the past.
Yep.
But this, I had never heard of this movie. I didn't really go in with any expectations, and yet this movie somehow defied every expectation I didn't have. Because I absolutely did not expect this kind of comic strip, like animated comic strip style with this family that just goes through like fun things. I had fun with it. I personally loved the comedy in it, but overall, it was unexpected fun. That's what I'll say.
All right. I will add, I think the art style is very unique and fun. I actually really enjoyed that. I was not super hip on the story. I didn't really click to that too much, but it isn't without charm. I do think it has a lot of charm to it. With that, I do have a synopsis here, Ryan.
Let's do it.
It's a little busted up.
Do you have a synopsis?
It's so okay. So let me break this down. I think I even mentioned it in the first. Yeah, okay. So I mentioned it in the beginning, so I'm not going to explain it. But it's a weird one to make a synopsis for. So I'll just dive into it as best I can. Here we go. Ahem. My Neighbor, the Yamadas, is less a film and more a series of vignettes looking into the lives of the Yamada family. Watch them from the moment Takashi and Matsuko get married, to having kids, and seeing the many misadventures they have during their lives. The film is framed with a speech at their wedding, stating that having children can help a marriage weather any storm that may come. As a friend of people who come from broken families, this isn't really the best advice. Okay. The vignettes tend to pair off characters in some fashion, with the young daughter Nanako not getting much attention. Presumably the film is drawn by her in universe, as she is the one who introduces the family before the weird haiku reading older man takes over for narration. We see the family struggle through typical middle-class family problems, but with a Japanese spin to it. The Yamadas, more like the Simpsons, am I right? I mean, I guess that would have been true in the 90s, but, I mean, now I don't really know if the Simpsons are what they are anymore. Are they middle class still? Anyone? No? Moving on. Such short stories include Matsuko struggling in school, or getting chocolates from girls in his class. The mother, did I get their names mixed up? I did. Fuck, I'm dumb. The mother, actually in Matsuko, deals with caring for her family and living with the presumed mother-in-law. The father, Takashi, deals with being a role model and a provider for his family. The daughter is a kind of there, and the grandmother is Shige, being forgetful and scolding to the family for various things via her aged wisdom. Most of the stories are meant to be heartwarming and funny, but there are a couple that aim to be a little more depressing or heartbreaking in concept. One such idea includes a group of street punks riding through their neighborhood at night. Mr. Yamada attempts to speak to them, but is unable to get the words out. That's when Granny Shige steps in and outwits the street punks with her coy old woman charm. Mr. Yamada is outdone by his mother in dealing with these tough bikers, and he feels a bit lost in his manhood and sulks in a nearby park for a bit as the camera pans away to the next scene. This slow summer moment feels like a reflection on men in modern society who feel they have no place in the world, that doesn't rely on physical strength to survive anymore. What role do they play, and how do they adapt to this world, is what the film might be asking. The movie ends with Mr. Yamada speaking at a newlywed couple at their wedding, and having to improvise his own speech without his notes. He talks about sometimes the person you must rely on will most likely make mistakes, but it's knowing that they aren't intentional and that they mean the best that keeps the marriage together. This transitions into a short song and dance number in which the mom and dad begin to sing that leads into the whole family singing, while a fantastical and more surreal animation happens in the background. I know I skipped a bunch of stuff, but it literally went all over the place with this vignette, so it's hard to really get a straightforward synopsis here. So
hey, no, you did pretty damn good, honestly. I wasn't really expecting a synopsis period, but damn.
Hey, I tried.
You did, man, you did.
So, Ryan, what are your thoughts now that we've gone through all that?
So It actually, I remember when we did Only Yesterday.
Yep.
And you asked me during that
I
question, would you would you be interested in like a movie of just like straight up vignettes that just had fun with everything? And I said only if it was building to an overarching like point. I think this movie doesn't do that. I think this movie, I had a lot of fun with this movie, but this movie essentially played out to me like a series of animated Sunday morning like newspaper comic strips that were just really, really fun in their own like little settings. Just like, all right, you're set up, you have this 5-person family, and they're gonna have a lot of fun, and they're gonna go through life. Go. And then you just get a bunch of stories of them. And I laughed really hard at every story. And it was a lot of fun, except for the Street Punks one. That was really kind of sad.
I liked that one, though. I really liked what they were trying to do. The animation was good when it became the Moon Knight Rider or something like that. It was really cool. I liked all that.
Yeah, I mean, I like the animation of that, but the story kind of brought me down. Like, I spent, like, the entire movie laughing my ass off, and this one I was just like, oh... I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir.
I did laugh when the grandma stepped in. It's like, hey, you punks, and then started like sweet talking him and actually convinced him with her own bullshit. I'm like, man,
I honestly didn't know where it was gonna go. I was just like, what's gonna happen?
She's a sly old woman. I'll give her that.
Oh my god.
Okay. Well, then let me get to this first question here, since we're already on it. Were there any vignettes that stood out to you the most or grabbed your attention the most?
Singular vignettes, not entirely. I really love the comedy throughout all of it, and I like if we're gonna talk about things that stood out most, I'm gonna bring out 2 of them.
Okay.
Because I thought, and it was just how it played to me, but I thought it was a recurring. They had brought back a little joke. So towards the beginning of the movie. Mrs. Yamada tells her husband, hey, can you pick some stuff up from the store? She says, she gives him a list like cucumber, ham, lettuce, garbage bags, and light bulbs. And she's like, I'll make a list. He says, no, don't worry about it. I'll remember it. And then it cuts to him saying, see, cucumber, ham, lettuce, garbage bags, and light bulbs. And it's him just sitting down after he had gotten back from the store and said, see, the only thing I forgot was to buy them. And I laughed, and I died. It's just like, God damn it, sir, what are you doing?
It definitely felt like dad humor almost a little bit.
It was really good. It was really good. But what killed me, at the very end, he stands up to make his speech, and she slips him his notes for his remarks. And he pulls it out, and he looks at it, and it says cucumber, ham, lettuce. And I thought that they brought it back and hit him with the fucking list. And I laughed so hard, I cried. I'm about to cry just remembering it. I had to pause the movie and catch my breath because I was laughing that hard. So yeah, that's it. That's what I'll say.
I do like how they also sandwich the movie a little bit, or bookend the movie with the whole wedding thing happening, and how he is giving this advice, and they pass that same wisdom on to the next couple, and it fits with everything in between. It's not a straight narrative thread like Only Yesterday had, but it's a nice bookended story almost, with it's like the prologue and epilogue match perfectly, and everything in the middle is like, oh hey, here's just some random shit. Here you go.
You're right. And it's what kills me is that I got so wrapped up in each individual vignette and all the jokes that I kind of missed that. So, but now that you bring it up, it makes a lot of sense that it bookends itself. And like, you start the movie, they're reminiscing on how when they were just married, they were given all this advice, and then it shows them throughout life, and then it ends with them being able to pass on their own kind of hard-fought advice, which was really cool. Now that I think about it, that's really well done.
So I guess I'll throw this question to you then, even though I think you've already kind of answered with how you say you laughed to the point you cried. Do you think the humor's aged well in this film, or does it feel like it's a bit dated with it being a late '90s, early 2000s film?
I don't think it's dated. Honestly, I think because it makes it's humor based on like everyday struggles of families and just like the silly shit that you're gonna get into as husband and wife, and like dealing with your kids being smart asses and just like accidentally leaving your kid at the mall. Oh shit. And just I think that kind of humor ages very well. Like you can definitely see like some dated points of like reference in the movie, but I don't think it really detracts from the humor at all.
That's fair. Okay, I'm gonna skip this next one real quick. I'll get to it later because I think it is better for the end here. Okay, so like only yesterday, there's a series of vignettes to make up an actual film, and I think you've already told me that you like this one a lot. So the question is here: do you think this one holds up nearly as well as Only Yesterday does? Comparing these vignette flavored films.
When you say holds up, what do you mean?
So I know we talked a lot of sugar about Only Yesterday because it gave us such a deep conversation, and it kind of let us relive the whole nostalgic feeling of being a child here. So I guess my question is, does this film kind of trigger anything like that? Does it feel like this series of vignettes clicks at the same level as Only Yesterday, or do you feel like it falls short of that a little bit?
I wouldn't say it falls short, but I
know they're very different, so it's hard to compare.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it falls short, but I would say it didn't click with me as much as Only Yesterday, and that's only because I have not experienced the things that it would click with me yet. I'm like, fingers crossed that I don't die alone. But eventually, I would think that when I actually am married and have kids and am living that portion of my life, I can come back to this and really reminisce on some shit. But Only Yesterday, everybody's been a kid. Everybody has dealt with school shit and like having to deal with liking somebody, and girls having to deal with boys and like crazy shit like that. Everybody has had to deal with that. So I think that's a little more accessible as opposed to reminiscing about good old family times. You know
Fair enough. I mean, I can kind of see myself in the shoes of the young man. I can't remember his name because I wrote the fucking wrong name down. But
I think it's Nobuo?
Noboru?
Noboru.
Maybe.
I think.
I can see myself in his shoes a bit. I mean, I've been the older brother, and I've been in the whole embarrassing like family situations where it's like, oh hey, I got a girl on the phone, and everyone's making a big deal about it. Oh, this girl gave me a gift at school. Oh no, they're making a big deal about it. I've been in his shoes. I get it to an extent. So I can kind of click with this film. Again, not to the same degree as Only Yesterday, but I click with it enough. I get it to a point. Okay. Next question. And I feel like I'm speedballing through these here, but we'll see. What is the overarching meaning or point to Yamadas? Or is there one?
I don't think there is one. I mean, if okay, no, I take that back.
Okay.
I think it goes back to what they were talking about in both the beginning and the end of the movie, and how during life, like as a family, you're you're gonna encounter rocky storms, you're gonna encounter calm waters, and like they emphasize the importance of family to get through all the times that life is going to throw at you, rather than just the hard times or just the easy times. So having that kind of central meaning bookend the movie, like you mentioned, I think that really makes it clear that that's kind of what what the movie is essentially trying to say. It does it in a very roundabout way. It just kind of states it at the beginning. Then you have a lot of fun stuff with very few poignant moments, but like it's just a lot of comedy, and then it says it at the end. It's just like, if you weren't paying attention, this is what we're saying, and then it goes on.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's pretty on point there. I mean, I brought up the bookended wedding bit too, and I think we're both on the same page there for that. So, I definitely think you lose the meaning and point during the middle of the film, which
yeah, you do.
May be a detractor against it, just because it's like, at least in Only Yesterday, you kind of could follow along with what's going on once you understood the two parallel storylines taking place, and in here it's just bouncing around a different little mini stories in this big bookended thing. I don't know what you want to call it. So yeah, I don't know. I think there is a point to it. It's just not super clear until the very end when you're like, oh, it's bookending to that bit. I get what's going on now.
Yeah, I would say that too.
Okay. So 2 questions here, and then we'll move on to my bigger question, which I'll explain here in a minute. If you could give any words of wisdom to a newly married couple, what would you think you would say?
Man.
I'm not trying to get spoilers for my wedding here. You can choose something that you won't say to me. So.
Oh, bro, am I gonna have to say something? Jesus Christ. Shit. I'm not sure what advice I can give. I've been single for so long. But I would mostly hit on the points that were said already, and how finding someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with is truly a blessing, but the rest of your life is a long time. And to really last that amount, it's not just going to be, okay, we're here and we're going to be together forever. It's going to take conscious work and a conscious effort to love one another and to be committed to being committed. So as long as you keep that in the forefront and you approach every interaction with forgiveness and the desire to just be in love with this person and stay with them forever, I think you guys will get through it just fine.
I like that. That's good. I think the advice I would probably throw out there would be along the lines of every relationship is built on trust and compromise, and without either, the relationship will probably crumble. And so go forward being able to trust one another, and go forward being willing to compromise on what you want, because that's part of the relationship. It's a two-way street. You're not going to always get what you want. They're not going to always get what they want. But as long as you're both willing to compromise, you'll end up happier than no one getting anything.
Very good. Very good, sir.
Yeah, I like that.
Sounds like somebody who's about to get married. I mean...
A little bit. Well, I've had enough bad relationships to know this kind of advice. So let's just say I've been with someone who was unwilling to compromise here and there. I'm not going to name names, but... yeah, it was not a fun relationship. I learned that very quickly. All right, last one before I get to my biggie. Okay, so what is the best advice any parental figure or guardian, or any parental or guardian figure has given you, and do you still follow that advice to this day?
Shit. Do you have an answer for that? I have to think on that one for a second.
I've been struggling with this one for a bit, too. I wrote it down thinking, this will be easy to figure an answer for. But I think I've got something. And I think the best advice I could probably give, or that I've been given, I should say, is don't buy what you can't afford. Well, no, I mean, it makes sense. It's about, being responsible with your money, and I think that that's something everyone needs to be held accountable to. Because, I mean, if you look back to old situations like the housing market, people bought houses they couldn't afford, and so on and so forth. That led to the fucking recession and shit. And I think it's a lesson everyone should learn. It's just, don't spend more than what you have. Live within your means. That kind of thing.
All right, that's pretty good. I wish my parents had told me that. I had to learn that my damn self. Honest. I was never like super financially irresponsible, but I learned how to budget and how to like be really financially responsible on my own.
Yeah, I think it's definitely helped, but I think it does have a downside in that, and you can probably ask Amanda if you want. But I do feel like I might be a bit cheap at times. not that it has been a problem. I mean, I'll willingly spend money when I need to, but I feel like I definitely spend less than I probably could if I really wanted to.
Man, with this fucking economy, shit, I'm not gonna be mad at you. So I would say the best advice that I have been given by parental figures, it was couched in a lot of religious upbringing, but the core of it was to not spend energy worrying about things that are going wrong. It's not to completely ignore it, not to ignore it at all, but to, instead of spending that energy being anxious about things and like worrying about how it could get even worse, instead take a breath, take a step back, kind of recenter yourself, and be able to look at it without the worry kind of making everything blown out of proportion. It's the best way to keep your sanity in check, and also a way to clearly see how to deal with the problem, as opposed to it getting blown out of proportion in your head.
I like that. That's good. That's good. I feel like I've gotten similar advice to that before, but I don't think it was worded quite that way. So, but I definitely feel like it's on point.
Cool.
Okay. So last question here, and this is kind of gonna paint my opinion on the film a bit here. Okay.
All right.
So when I watched this film, I was thinking in my head, this is a struggle of a middle-class family, and it's kind of like a sitcom-y vibe to it, like it's just a bunch of like short little comedy bits. And I'm thinking to myself, what are some comedy, or what are some middle-class struggling family comedies that I've seen before? And I immediately went to Bob's Burgers. And I'm thinking to myself, how do these guys compare to Bob's Burgers? And yeah, I guess that's where I'm going to leave it there. Is how does something like this compare to Bob's Burgers, or if you're more inclined, Simpsons, Golden Years, or King of the Hill? And for me, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in here. I think that I'm going to specifically talk about Bob's Burgers because I think this show has a very similar charm and heart to it that Bob's Burgers does. I think Bob's Burgers tackles these kind of stories with a little more depth and complexity. Granted, it's not a series of vignettes, but I think I would have liked to have seen maybe a few less vignettes and maybe a few more fleshed out short stories within the whole picture to fully dive into a given situation or problem, or just a running bit of gags. Because in looking back at all the best of Bob's Burgers and all the best of what this film has to offer, I definitely think that I just get more laughs and more... I don't want to say lessons, but I guess more... I take away more from what that's offering, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
That's fair. That's fair. I would argue that in the case of the comparison, I think you have to consider the fact that Bob's Burgers gets a lot more time than this movie does.
No, and I like I said, this is a bunch of vignettes. Bob's Burgers is a full 30 minutes, so I get that.
Yeah, like they get 30 minutes to tell each and every story, to pack in as many laughs while also giving like really good stories and just like a lot of fun out of it. Whereas I felt that this movie, like I'll be honest, after the first 20 minutes, after the first 15-20 minutes, when I realized exactly what I was watching, I kind of stopped looking for like deep introspective meanings and just laid back on my couch and just prepared to laugh for an hour and a half, where it's just going to be joke after joke after joke. And at times it got boring a little bit, not because it wasn't funny, but just because there was no like kind of central conceit that it was
there was
building
nothing pulling
to.
you along.
Right, there was nothing pulling you along. Right, but I would say that that's primarily a drawback of the format that they chose.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like it was a series of Sunday morning like comic strips given animation, and like it was like I was watching a Calvin and Hobbes book play out, which was fun, which was really cool. But yeah.
No, I hear you. Like I said, I think I just would have preferred something a little with not a lot more meat, but just a little bit more. I feel like we got a very kind of bare bones experience compared to some of the stuff I've seen. And again, I understand it's a time difference. This is like 5-minute shorts in a series of shorts versus a 30-minute cartoon. But I think I would like to have seen Yamadas maybe blown up to that a bit. Not necessarily a bunch not necessarily a bunch of episodes, but like just maybe like 15-minute episodes, like just short episodes that kind of dive deeper into their lives, the humor, and maybe just like the problems and why and how it reflects the modern Japanese middle class problems. I think that would have been something I would have been very interested to see, and I feel like this is a glimpse into it, but it's not enough of a look that I wanted to get.
I'm honestly okay that it didn't do that. I think that this particular project showcases like another facet of like what Studio Ghibli can do. I felt like it was just kind of exercising it, like flexing its muscle in terms of like, all right, well, what if we did just a bunch of vignettes and just had a lot of fun with it? What do we go? Like, where do we go? I think that Studio Ghibli constantly puts out these really like nuanced, introspective stories or these big flying fantasies. And I think for this particular project, they took a step back from it and said, let's do something entirely different. And I was really okay with that.
That's fair. All right, I'm out of discussion questions, so we're going to go straight on to our next segment here, which is the Trivia Corner. Let's cue some music here. Alright, so I've got the classic Explain the Trope trivia here for this episode. I got 3 tropes from anime, and I want to see if Ryan can guess them real quick. I think he'll get at least one of these. We'll see. I have faith in you, Ryan. I have faith.
The bar is so low.
Okay.
Deservedly so, but it's so low.
Okay. What's the one I wanted to start with? Okay. Ryan, explain to me the trope of the 4 gods. Yep. In Japanese, and to an extension, Chinese as well, and other Asian cultures, there's a trope known as the 4 gods used in various things. What do you think this refers to?
Okay. I'm going to note that in the majority of anime that I've seen, particularly shonen, when you get to like the upper echelons of like powered individuals, there always seem to be 4 of them. In One Piece, you have the 4 emperors of the New World, and I think it was. No, there were 5 Kage in Naruto. No, still, I'm going to stick with that. The fact that there are usually, like, at the top echelons of power, there are always 4 different individuals that the main character has to either interact with or defeat in some form or fashion.
I appreciate the way you took that. It's not quite what it is, though.
That's entirely wrong, but I like where you went with it, Ryan.
Okay. So, the 4 gods are essential figures of ancient Chinese and Japanese astrology and geomancy, which includes various references in anime. One notable one I know of is in Digimon, because they do have this reference, I think, in the second adventure, I remember right. These gods in Mandarin, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Vietnamese are known as the Azure Dragon, which is like the god of the east, the vermilion sparrow, god of the south, the white tiger of the west, and the black tortoise of the north. You didn't even know the specific ones, obviously. But basically, it's these 4 massive godlike animals that represent the 4 directions and are kind of the 4 gods of Eastern mythology in certain... based on the constellations and shit.
There is absolutely no way I would have gotten that.
I know they referenced it in fuck it, what is it? Digimon, because I know there's a dragon of the east named Ulanmon or something like that. I don't remember what the other 3 were. It drives me fucking crazy. Okay. You might
Oh my god.
You might get this one because we have some context to back it up here. We'll see. What is the Hime cut?
The Hime cut?
Yes. Hime cut.
Okay, well, Hime means princess because we just watched Mononoke Hime last week.
Mm-hmm. Ryan's on a path here. I think he might have this.
I'm gonna guess that there's a specific type of haircut that's generally used for characters that are like thought to be princesses in anime. I can't. I'm like here trying to think what San's haircut looks like. It's kind of like a shoulder length like bob. Not really a bob.
Let's be fair here. Does she really count considering she lives in the wild?
She is the princess of the forest. I don't know, man. That's my guess. That's my guess.
Well, Ryan, I'm going to give you a point here because the Hime cut, the regal style hairstyle worn by many female characters, primarily in Japanese and Japanese-inspired media. The name comes from the Japanese word of princess and is associated with the upper classes in tradition.
Hey, I did it! I stumbled there, but I did it.
In its pristine form, it's straight black hair, endemic of actual real-life Japanese people, is worn long, save for the perfectly trimmed just above the upper eyelids. So, kind of like Hinata, but with long hair.
So, like the crazy chick in Kill La Kill, who wore all white, like the head of the school.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, she had like super like long black hair, just straight and cut, and then she had the bangs. Yeah. No. Okay, I got you.
Yep. I see we're on roll here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I don't know if you're gonna get this one. This is interesting now. Okay.
Thank you, Aaron.
What does the trope mono no aware mean?
Mono have no fucking clue. What the hell is that?
Okay. I'm going to read what it says here. According to TV tropes, mono no aware. All things in life are fragile and impermanent. Everything we lose is doomed to fade, but at the same time, isn't it what makes it beautiful? An aesthetic first popularized in the 18th century by scholar Motori Norinaga. Mono no aware, often translated as the ah-ness of things, is a kind of wistful sadness that would come to be considered the central theme in Japanese art and one of the pillars in Japanese identity.
What? Oh my god.
Basically, it's a very light version of Japanese nihilism.
Yeah, that's like it's nihilism light. That's what this trope is. Okay.
I didn't realize
everything is doomed to fail. Everything is doomed to fade, but it's impermanence that makes it gorgeous because we will not be able to experience it forever. So we should treasure it while it is here.
I wish Morty had said that instead of what he said to Summer that first time when he explained his dead body. That would have been cute. I would have loved it.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been Morty. That wouldn't have been Morty.
It'd be Japanese Morty.
Maybe Japanese Morty who wasn't hanging around Rick all the fucking time. Maybe.
Oh, is there a dimension you think where Morty is Japanese and he has that same kind of opinion?
No. Because Morty can't exist without Rick. I believe this. I'm 99.8% sure it's canon.
Well, okay, so we know that some of the Mortys do exist without a Rick, but that's mostly because those Ricks are dead.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
you won't go to a universe where it's just Morty and he's just existing and has no idea of the existence of Rick whatsoever. I don't think you'll ever see that.
Alright, so yeah, that's our trivia segment right there. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Went into a little Morty tangent, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, now on to our final segment. We're going to close out this with our review. If you haven't seen what our review scores mean, platinum, gold, silver, bronze, stone, dirt, and shit, please be sure to check out the link in the description, which details exactly what we're talking about. Because there's some depth to them, some meaning, and we want to make sure that you know why we're reviewing something, so if you don't like our review score, we can explain, oh hey, that's because this means this, and you're not paying attention. With that in mind, we're going to be talking about My Neighbors the Yamadas, and reviewing this one on the scale. Ryan, where would you rank My Neighbor the Yamadas on our scale?
I would give My Neighbors the Yamadas a bronze. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I don't think they were really swinging for the fences on it. I think they were trying to do something different and just kind of exercising what they could do. I think that it was very funny and really enjoyable, but it's not something that you should absolutely must. You have to see this. Oh my God. It's not that. It was fun, but it's not that.
I'm going to be in the same boat. I'm going to say probably a low bronze for me. It was not anything I was super over. Part of that's because we're coming off the very overwhelming Princess Mononoke. It's kind of hard to watch anything after that and be like, oh yeah, this is great. But, yeah, no, I'd say this is a low bronze. I actually originally had it as a stone for me, because I just felt it was, like, kind of skippable. But, I mean, you talked about some sugar. It's fine. It's okay. I would say its art style is definitely something to take to the bank. It looks really good. It's kind of like Wind Waker. It ages really well, and I think it's going to hold out for a good while, compared to some films we've seen. But I don't think that
That's fair.
I prefer, but I do appreciate what it is and what it looks like, and it's kind of timelessness almost. So I like it. But yeah, I'd go with that. Probably no higher than bronze is where I'd say it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So yeah, with that, let's go ahead and close out with our usual bits. You can find us on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, all those things, the social medias. If you want to contact us or if you want to send us questions, messages, all that stuff, we'll be happy to hear from you. If you have any kind of opinions on these films, we'd love to hear from you as well, because we'll read them at some point if we get any. And you can also reach out to us on our email. Ryan, what is that email?
That is evacstation@gmail.com.
evacstation@gmail.com. I like it every time I hear it. With that in mind, next week, y'all will be listening to Spirited Away, which Ryan and I recorded months ago.
Damn.
So yeah, look forward to that. I think it was one of the movies we did before we even had our gold through silver system, or whatever it is. So the review scores may not be 100% on par. After that, you'll get The Cat Returns, which you've already done. And then we'll finally get to Howl's Moving Castle, which is the first in the run-up to the end that we have not done. I actually watched ahead on that one, Ryan. I'm excited to talk about it, because I have some thoughts on that one, and it's a film we're watching with it that week.
I haven't seen Howl's Moving Castle in forever, so it'll be good to refresh my memory on that one.
Yep. And if you like those movies and want to talk about them, make sure you leave us comments down below, and we'll try to read them as quick as we can. And, yeah. Ryan, is there anything I'm forgetting?
No, you covered it. I mean, we've touched on the fact that I'm lonely and want to talk to people. We've touched on the fact that we're continuing to do these movies that are a lot of fun. So, yeah, there we go.
Yep. Oh, almost forgot, patreon.com/evacstation. If you want to help us out there, $1 a month will help us get more product, more movies, more fun times. And we'd love to keep these fun times rolling. Because after this, we will be doing... I guess we can probably detail what we're coming up after Ghibli movies. After we're done with the Ghibli, we'll be doing a round of favorites in December. We're only a few months away from that, because this comes out at the middle of September. So yeah, at the beginning of December, we'll do a month of favorites, and then into January. We have not settled on our theme just yet. We have a couple brewing, but I think we are leaning towards a specific one. I don't want to tell it until we're confirmed on it, though. But yeah, I think you guys will like it. The new season starts right then and there.
Good.
Alright, I think that's everything. So we'll see you after the credits.
Bye.
Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Hey, Sarah, Sarah, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Hey, Sarah, Sarah.
And her being like them actually trying to like make a relationship work in the midst of Big Mom and all this crazy shit would have been impossible. But damn, I felt so bad for both of them. I'm like, Sanji was gonna hold it down and actually be a great husband, and she would have had somebody that actually loved her, like every bit of her, and just. And then she took it away, and then she just sat there and cried forever. I'm like, oh god damn you, Oda, you broke my heart again.
Like I said, I think I love that arc the most. Sanji is probably become. He was always one of my favorites, but he is like literally solidified as yes, he has deserved the status as the best character so far.
Yeah, he's so good. It's so good. I'm sorry, I took us off on like nonsensical tangents. I just wanted to bring that up with you.
No, I love One Piece. I want to do a podcast on One Piece now.
Ooh. Oh boy.
Okay.
That would be a massive undertaking.
I mean, we wouldn't do the whole series. We'd probably just like highlights and shit. It'd probably be a two-parter though, at least. Okay. Let's tone it down. Let's bring it in. Okay.
Audacity. I've got my new Audacity up.
All right. Going 3, 2, 1, go.